One of the biggest inhibitors of improvement is mentally checking out. Yet a lot of people still do it because they don't know how to fix it. Fixes are going to change from person to person, but there are a lot of baseline things that you can try out to see what works for you. Ones that I recommend are limiting your games. What I mean by that is, let's say at the start of the game, you decide you want to play 6 games a day. All right, do that. And don't allow yourself to pass it. Don't go at the start of the day thinking, oh, I'm just going to play as many as I can. No, you cannot do that, because if you say that, then you're going to be a lot more inclined to go next or not try because you think, oh, I just want to get to the next game. If you know that mentally checking out isn't going to give you any more games, then you have a lot less incentive to mentally check out. One thing you need to understand is that mentally checking out is an easy way to cheat the improvement process to make it look like you're trying when you're really not. Instead of doing it in good faith, you're instead dropping out as soon as it gets difficult or spamming games instead of actually getting into what you're doing wrong. And you may still be reviewing, but that's when you'll go on Discord and say, hey, I'm trying my best, I'm reviewing all my games and doing this. And then when people actually look and realize you're not even trying your best to maintain your mental, you have to actually try to win the games all the way through for proper improvement to occur. In order to fix this issue, you're going to need to be really introspective. Why is it happening? Why are you mentally checking out? Is it stemming from you misplaying, your teammates misplaying, or is it something else? Perhaps as soon as you realize that the game is going to be really hard to win, you mentally check out, or as soon as you realize you can't win all the games of that particular day, you check out. Maybe as soon as you realize that you can't play the entire game well because you made that super big mistake, and so now nothing that happens later really matters. There's a whole lot of different ways that mentally checking out can occur. Regardless of how it occurs, you really need to sit there and think to yourself, why is it happening? Only you will know for certain. Perhaps it's something IRL that's bothering you and that's affecting you in game. That can happen as well. Some people check out mentally so often that it becomes a subconscious process. This is the worst case scenario. You do not want to be in this. If this applies to you, you need to create some kind of trigger to help you catch when it's happening. Look out for that trigger as often as you can. Anytime you feel the slightest bit of frustration, make sure to immediately respond to that with your fix instead of just allowing it to brew further. Here's a couple examples. The first one is, I have a spreadsheet that tracks multiple metrics, but one of them is if I complained during the game, because I have a tendency to do that consciously and subconsciously. But every time I catch myself complaining, I will mark down that I did complain. And just knowing that I will have to mark that I complained, which in my mind is a failure, I'm a lot more inclined to not complain off of that impulse the next time. Whatever metric you decide to use, if you want to go through my idea, you need to make sure it's 100% under your control. Do not use a metric that could possibly be failed without you doing anything wrong. This allows you to have something to work on every single game, regardless of the game state. Another example is the what's next mentality, where you think, what is the next play that I need to do? Maybe you died and you're like, okay, do I need to go top? Do I need to go mid? Do I need to go bottom? Do I need to go Drake? Where do I need to go? What are my options? Just constantly asking yourself, what is the next thing I need to do? Keeping yourself focused on the important decisions that you're making instead of the past decisions. As I said, when deciding between these examples or even your own solution, it's going to be completely different for everyone. So figure out what works for you. Try a whole bunch of things until you see something that starts to stick a little bit. Regardless of what people will tell you on Reddit and Discord, everybody goes through these kind of frustrating games. Not just you. You're by no means a special case or an exception to the rule. What's important is how you respond to that negative situation instead of trying to play the victim. If you're mentally checking out because you think there's no way to win and or nothing to learn from the game, remember that even the worst of games, the most doomed of games, are great for practicing and working on your mental, if nothing else. There's always something you can work on.